Okay, so we're going to be adding and subtracting polynomials. Before we do that, should cover some quick vocabulary. Vocabulary at the top of your paper. So as far as a polynomial goes, it's just an expression that has variables and coefficients and involves some adding, subtracting, multiplying. So in this first blank line, we're going to write the word expression. So in other words, a polynomial is not going to have an equal sign in it. There are different types of polynomials. The three basic kinds that we're talking about today are monomial, binomial, and trinomial. So a monomial, notice the prefix has mono, which means one, is whenever it's just one term. So in these, you won't see plus or minus signs. An example would be like 3x squared. Okay, there's no plus or minus signs, it's just one term. A binomial, prefix here is bi, meaning two, will be a polynomial that has two terms. So it's going to have one plus or minus sign. So if I wanted to make this a binomial, I could write the 3x squared, and then I would need something else to add it or subtract it from it. So an example could be like 3x squared minus 7x. It has two terms, 1, 2, binomial. And then we have trinomials. Trinomials, the prefix here is tri, meaning three. So we're going to have a polynomial that has three terms. So we're going to have one more term than this one right here. Example, I could have 3x squared minus 7x plus 4. 1, 2, 3 terms. The next thing is talking about when are we allowed to add or subtract polynomials. So in order to add or subtract polynomials, you have to have like terms. And in this situation, we're going to combine like terms. If it doesn't have the same variable or exponent, you are not allowed to combine like terms. Below, these first four problems are addition problems, so these are going to be examples of adding polynomials. There are different ways you can look at it. This is the horizontal method, and this is the vertical method, which looks very similar to how you normally add numbers by hand. So, I'm going to show you both ways. Now, if I'm adding two polynomials together, I'm just simply combining their like terms. So if I want to add 3x squared minus 5x plus 4 to negative 2x squared minus 8, right here is the first term in that first polynomial, 3x squared. Over here in the second polynomial, I have a like term that goes with it, which is the negative 2x squared. So I'm going to combine this one, 3x squared, with its like term, negative 2x squared. So really that's telling me to do 3 minus 2, which is 1x squared. You could either write 1x squared, or you can just simply write x squared, because they both mean the same thing. Okay? I typically mark them out once I've used them. The next term in the first polynomial is negative 5x. Now negative 5x has an x next to it, so I would need to combine it with another term that has an x next to it. When I look at the second polynomial, I don't see anything in this polynomial that has just an x next to it. So this one here doesn't have anything that's going to go with it, so I'm just going to write it down, minus 5x. And then last I have a positive 4. Positive 4 is a constant because it doesn't have a variable next to it. And negative 8 is also a constant. So these two are going to join together. So really that's saying 4 minus 8. please make sure you're using your calculator to check your answers. So in my calculator, I would type in 4 minus 8, and 4 minus 8 is a negative 4. So I have minus 4. So my answer is 1x squared minus 5x minus 4. Another way of writing this would just simply be x squared minus 5x minus 4. And that's as far as you can go, because there are no more like terms in this answer. Very similar to what we were doing the other day. Now, right below that is an example of the vertical method. In this method, you still have polynomials. The top one is your first one, and the one underneath that is the second one. So I could rewrite this and make it look like this up here, but there's no need for that. Notice how the like terms are lined up for you already. Since the second one didn't have any PR squareds, I didn't write anything underneath the first term on the first polynomial. So these two are like terms, and these two are like terms, so I'm going to be combining those together. This one, nothing goes with it, so that just comes straight down. Here, I have a positive 6p minus 7p, so really that's saying 6 minus 7. It's a negative 1. And then last over here, I have negative 1 plus 3, because that's a minus 1. Remember, if I cover up everything before that minus 1, I can read that as a negative 1 plus a 3. That's what I would type in my calculator. Negative 1 plus 3 is a positive 2. I could rewrite this answer without that 1 there, so I could also write it as 8pr squared minus p plus 2. Either answer is correct. This one or this one.